Go ahead and settle in with your coffee, because today we're talking about something every gardener knows. That sinking feeling when you step outside on a perfect July morning and realize your garden was attacked overnight. I've been there. Dew on the grass, cool air, sunrise glowing, and then I see it. Tomato leaves chewed to lace, aphids marching up the stems, squash ruined. It feels personal, like something betrayed you. For years, my reaction was the same. Grab the bottle, spray, declare war. Maybe I'd win for a week. But the pests always came back, stronger. Every season felt like starting over. That changed when I visited old order Amish farms in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. No chemicals, no gadgets. Yet their gardens were thriving. Heavy tomatoes, perfect cabbages, soil alive underfoot. Standing there, I asked myself, what do they know that I don't? It wasn't a product, it was a mindset. They don't see the garden as a battlefield. They see it as a living community. They work with nature, not against it. A system nearly 500 years old, now confirmed by modern science. If you're ready to stop fighting nature and start outsmarting pests, let's dig in. In an Amish garden, everything begins with one quiet principle: balance. They have a word for it: golosinite. Yielding, not quitting. Leaning into rhythm instead of trying to dominate it. When most of us see a bug, we reach for spray. But poison doesn't just kill pests. It kills ladybugs, lacewings, and ground beetles, the very insects that protect our plants. We think we're solving a problem. We're actually dismantling our own defenses. The Amish ask a different question. Not, how do I kill this bug? But, why is this bug here? Because pests aren't random. They're messengers. They show up when plants are weak, soil is depleted, or the ecosystem is out of balance. And that leads to their core belief. A pest problem is almost always a soil problem. The battle isn't won on the leaves. It's won underground. Ask an Amish farmer what he grows and he'll say, I grow soil. To them, soil is the garden's immune system. Healthy soil produces strong plants, thicker cell walls, natural bitter compounds, built-in resistance. But plants pushed with synthetic fertilizers grow fast and soft, filled with sugars that attract insects. The Amish don't feed plants. They feed soil. They compost with intention, layering manure with straw to create microbial heat. I've seen piles hit 150 degrees in 2 days. They destroy pathogens while multiplying beneficial microbes. They even add fermented boosters like molasses water or leftover whey to accelerate the process. When it's finished, dark, crumbly, sweet-smelling, they call it black gold. You can test soil the same way they do. Squeeze a handful. If it crumbles like moist chocolate cake, you've got living loam. If it turns to dust or sticks like clay, it needs help. Then there's the earthworm test. Fewer than 10 worms in a square foot. Soil is exhausted. Plenty of worms. The soil is alive. Aerated, fertilized, working for you. And when soil is alive, pests lose interest. Strong plants taste different. They signal strength. Insects move on. Above ground, the Amish use another quiet strategy: confusion. Most gardens are planted in tidy rows, tomatoes here, cabbages there. To us, it looks organized. To pests, it's a buffet. Insects don't hunt by sight. They hunt by smell. A row of 20 cabbages amplifies scent into a clear signal. The Amish break that signal. They interplant. Basil among tomatoes to repel aphids and hornworms while masking scent. Horseradish or flax near potatoes to deter beetles. They don't kill pests, they make them lost. And sometimes they go further, planting trap crops, sacrificial plants that lure pests away from the main harvest. It's strategic, subtle, effective, not war, design. That's the genius of the Amish way. They don't overpower nature. They cooperate with it. They build strength underground. They confuse pests above ground. And in doing so, they create gardens that are resilient, balanced, and quietly thriving, season after season. The real secret isn't a spray. It's a system. My squash vines can look thick and healthy for weeks, then collapse overnight like someone pulled the plug. The Amish noticed something remarkable about that pattern. These pests have a favorite dish, something they prefer even more than zucchini or pumpkin. That favorite is blue Hubbard squash. So instead of scattering it randomly, the Amish plant blue Hubbard along the outer edges of the garden, well away from the crops they truly want to protect. And just like iron filings pulled toward a magnet, beetles and vine borers head straight for the blue Hubbard first. They leave the zucchini, pumpkins, and winter squash largely untouched. 1 plant sacrificed, 20 plants saved. Not a drop of pesticide needed. That isn't war. That's strategy. That's gardening with wisdom instead of resistance. Once I saw how well it worked, I stopped planting in lonely straight rows. Even with rich soil and smart planting, insects will still visit. Nature always sends guests. And this is where the Amish reveal something beautifully human. It's not a product. It's not a tool. It's a daily ritual. At dawn, while the air is cool and insects are sluggish, they walk the garden slowly, row by row. It's not just a stroll, it's an investigation. Dawn gives them the advantage. Insects haven't warmed up yet. They're slow. They can't hide well. In one hand, a simple bucket of soapy water. In the other, attention. They kneel beside each plant and check where most gardeners rarely look, the underside of leaves. That's where trouble begins. Squash bug eggs sit there in neat bronze rows. Aphids cluster quietly in the shadows. Tomato hornworms cling to stems, big and bright green. At night, those hornworms even glow under a flashlight. When the Amish find pests, they don't panic. They pluck them off. They scrape away eggs. They drop offenders into the bucket. It takes minutes, but those minutes can stop hundreds, sometimes thousands, of insects from ever being born. 1 pair of squash bugs caught in May means no army in July. 10 minutes today can save months of frustration later. And beyond the practical benefit, this ritual builds relationship. As the sun rises and leaves shimmer in the morning light, I shift from being someone who grows food to someone who stewards life. No spray bottle can replace that. For cutworms, those grubs that chew seedlings clean through at night, the Amish use something most of us throw away. A strip of cardboard, a piece of newspaper, even a toilet paper tube. When transplanting, they slide a cardboard collar around the stem, press it about an inch into the soil, and leave a couple inches sticking up. That little collar becomes a wall. When the cutworm crawls across the soil, it hits the barrier and turns away. By the time the plant grows thick enough to defend itself, the cardboard softens and decomposes back into the soil. No chemicals, no residue, just simple protection that works. When pests roll in like a sudden storm, aphids exploding, beetles arriving on warm winds, most people panic. They grab chemicals and spray everything in sight. The Amish walk past the shed. They head into the kitchen. Inside their pantry sits a remedy both sharp and time-tested. 2 cups of hot peppers, the hotter the better. 1 whole bulb of garlic. 1 medium onion. Chop them, blend with a splash of water, and let the mash sit overnight. During those hours, capsaicin from the peppers and sulfur compounds from the garlic and onion infuse the liquid. By morning, it carries everything pests hate. Strain it carefully. Even one chunk can clog a sprayer. Add 1 tablespoon of pure liquid soap. Real soap, not detergent. The soap helps the spray cling to leaves and break down the waxy coating of soft-bodied insects. Dilute about 1 cup of concentrate per gallon of water. Spray in the evening, when the air is calm and cool. Aphids retreat. Beetles disappear. Even rabbits take 1 bite of a cayenne garlic leaf and rethink their choices. This isn't poison. It's a boundary drawn in fire. Every ingredient is edible. No toxic residue. No long-term soil damage. The Amish pantry holds other quiet remedies, too. A pinch of baking soda to slow fungal disease. A milk spray. 1 part milk to 9 parts water to stop powdery mildew. Sunlight activates proteins in the milk, creating natural antiseptic compounds that protect leaves. Old remedies. Pennies to make. Safe for soil, family, and pollinators. And the Amish don't fight alone. They recruit allies with wings. While many neighborhoods mow lawns into lifeless carpets and spray away anything that buzzes, the Amish create invitations. They build simple birdhouses near their vegetable plots to attract bluebirds and purple martins, birds that can eat thousands of insects in a single day. Then there are bats. 1 bat can consume up to 1,000 mosquito-sized insects in an hour. Mounted bat houses on barns or sheds give them shelter, and in return, they patrol the night sky. Birds, bats, beneficial insects. The Amish garden isn't chaos. It's a balanced ecosystem. And when every layer works together, soil, plants, people, and wildlife, pests no longer dominate. Balance does. The Amish don't stop with birds and bats. They also recruit insect allies, tiny warriors working non-stop behind the scenes. One of their smartest methods is something called insectary strips. These are rows of flowers planted on purpose to attract beneficial insects. At first glance, they just look beautiful. Colorful patches of blooms swaying in the breeze. But underneath that beauty is careful strategy. Take the parasitic wasp. The name sounds intimidating, but these tiny, non-stinging insects are some of the best partners a gardener could ask for. They hunt pests like the tomato hornworm and lay their eggs inside them. When those eggs hatch, the hornworm doesn't survive. It's built-in pest control, designed by nature itself, and it works with brutal precision. To attract these wasps and other helpful insects, the Amish plant flowers with umbrella-shaped clusters packed with nectar. Dill, fennel, Queen Anne's lace, yarrow. These blooms act like rest stops and refueling stations for what I think of as the insect cavalry. When I weave dill through a cabbage patch, I'm not just planting herbs, I'm calling in reinforcements. And then we come to one of the most charming and surprisingly powerful allies of all, the chicken. The Amish use something called a chicken tractor. It's a movable, bottomless coop that slides across garden beds. After harvest, or before planting, they position that tractor over the soil. The chickens get right to work. They scratch, they dig, they peck, they flip the earth over. In the process, they eat weed seeds, slug eggs, and beetle larvae before those pests ever get the chance to hatch. And while they work, they leave behind something incredibly valuable: nitrogen-rich fertilizer. It's a perfect cycle. Chickens clean the soil. Chickens fertilize the soil. Chickens prepare the next growing season without machines, chemicals, or extra cost. It's ancient, and it reminds me that a garden thrives when I collaborate with nature, not when I try to control it. Now we come to the final Amish lesson. And it doesn't involve tools. It doesn't involve sprays. It comes down to timing. Because the moment I plant can decide whether my garden struggles or flourishes with ease. There's one last Amish secret, and it may be the most powerful of them all. It has nothing to do with sprays. It has everything to do with timing. In the modern world, I rely on calendars. I circle dates. I set reminders. I tell myself, I plant my corn on May 15th because that's the date. The Amish don't think that way. They plant by nature's calendar, not ours. They follow something called phenology. That's just a simple word for reading natural signs. Instead of flipping through a planner, they look around them. They watch the oak trees. When the oak leaves grow to about the size of a squirrel's ear, they know the soil has warmed enough to plant corn. Not because a date told them, but because nature did. And that small shift, from following numbers to following signs, changes everything in the garden.